How's it going, everyone? I am the Shaz here for all of you interested in learning how to go about attacking voltage rankings during item exchange events. I will admit, voltage rankings aren't for everyone, but for someone that's pretty competitive like myself, voltage rankings can be used as a measure of progress for your account. Let's use this month's voltage ranking songs as an example, and I will take you through every step a voltage competitor goes through to determine how they will build their teams. The muse song for this voltage ranking is Bokutachi wa Hitotsu no Hikari, Bokuhika. Now, if you're a sweaty gamer like myself, you know about the website suyo.be, which has a note map database for every song in All Stars. And yes, even all the specialty stages like Dream Live Parade versions of songs. If we go to the Muse section and scroll down, we'll find Bokuhika and the beat maps for beginner, intermediate, and advanced difficulty, along with an option for story stages. For this particular song, we'll want to play the normal story chapter 25 stage 10 version of this song over the advanced regular live version. You may be wondering, why the heck am I going to play the story version of this song? Well, while both have the same total number of notes at 178 and the actual map of the song doesn't change, we can see some very large differences between the two. The first difference, which all voltage competitors will look at for this song, is the overall song gimmick. In the regular live, we know that Bokuhika carries a non-cleanseable 50% appeal debuff to all cards. Meanwhile, the normal 25-10 version only carries a 20% non-cleansable appeal debuff, meaning that your cards will already be 30% stronger. Second, voltage competitors will compare base note damage, which for the regular live is 506 per note, whereas the normal 25-10 version has a base note damage of only 164. Base note damage is a very key factor, as it will tell you whether you actually need to run frontline healing or not. The third factor is SP gauge size, which the regular live has defaulted at 6000 and the 25-10 version is at 4800. What does this mean? In simple terms, this means that on average, you should be able to fill 20% more SP gauges on 25-10 than in a normal advanced live. The final difference for this song in particular comes in the note gimmick section. If we switch back to the regular advanced live, we only see one note gimmick, which gives smile cards a 50% gauge gain rate up for the next 20 notes, which happens 6 times. When we switch back over to look at the normal 25-10 version, we now see a second note gimmick, which is a 25% SP gauge fill, which happens a total of 5 times. What makes all of this more interesting is that if you switch over to the hard version of 25-10, you can see that, for the most part, it's just the regular live with the damage per note tamped down slightly. Now that we've covered the entire song, we should be playing normal 25-10, right? Yes, most of you should, regardless of your card pool. The only reason why you would score higher on the regular advanced live or hard 25-10 is if for some reason you got exceptionally better RNG on 1 or 2 runs. The next question you're probably thinking of is, okay Shaz, that's great, but what should my team build be? For this song, it's not as cut and dry as one would think. The Appeal Chance gimmick buffed the SP gauge gain rate of Muse cards during the Appeal Chance. But then you also have the Note gimmick, which gives Smile cards that SP gauge gain boost during the song as well. And at this point in the game, the only Muse SP gauge filler in the Smile attribute is Neural Kotori, which, while a good card, isn't a game-breaking card. So, what should you prioritize? Smile attribute or Muse cards? Let's take a look at the website again, shall we? In Bokuhika, there are 77 notes within Appeal Chances. Meanwhile, the Note gimmick that buffs the SP gauge gain rate of Smile cards for the next 20 notes happens a total of 6 times, which means it covers 120 notes, making it more valuable to lean more towards an attribute focus rather than the school bonus in the Appeal Chances. With all this in mind, my best guess for most used frontline trio would include Second Fest Setsuna with Neural Kotori and either Christmas Setsuna or Miracle Voyageo. If you don't have all of these cards, you could substitute in cards like Initial Umi, Steampunk Ellie, Venus Mari, or the new Valentine's Day Yohane. SP gauge gain up cards normally aren't great, but cards like Yohane and Mari, who give larger gauge gain buffs over a smaller note window, can function as slightly weaker fill cards since the SP gauge is smaller on the normal 25-10 map. I will note, if you can't stay on attribute, you don't need to. Don't be surprised to see top voltage competitors running a team consisting of Second Fest Setsuna, Nuro Koto, and Party Koto, since Party Koto's live show active will aid heavily in a player's ability to use many SP gauges. If you don't have the greatest gauge fillers or gauge gainers, the other route you could go with is a triple voltage lineup. While not scoring as well as the SP gauge fillers, a voltage lineup can come pretty close. The only problem is that much like the SP gauge fillers, Muse only has 3 above average appeal Smile voltage cards: First Fest Honoka, Cat Hoodie Rin, and Parade Hanayo. Because of the lack of selection that covers both note and AC gimmicks, if I was building a triple voltage team for Bokuhika, I'd probably look for some combination of Party Yo, Moonrabbit Shizuku, Mononoke Rina, and the recently released New Year's Eye. All of the other Smile Voltage UR options outside of Leo Chica are all really solid, so this build can have many different looks to it. As far as guest options go, no matter which team build you decide to go with, you'll most likely want a cheerleader Kanan guest. Even if you are running an off-attribute strategy, the ability to generate extra SP gauges will result in a higher ceiling for your scores. Now, what about a song with more attribute options like Genki Zenkai Day Day Day? Well, all of the steps that we took for Bokuhika will apply here when determining which version of the song we should play, as we have to choose between the regular Advanced Live in the Natural attribute, normal 20-5 in the Elegant attribute, and normal 32-3 in the Smile attribute. If we take a look between the three, we notice some things that stand out very prominently on one version of Genki Zenkai. Normal Chapter 20 Stage 5 has a base note damage of 41 and an SP gauge size of 3600, meaning that when compared to the regular live, you should be using 40% more SP gauges on average in this version. The final disparity between 20-5 and the other two versions, if for some reason you need to run an off-attribute card, those cards only lose 10% of their skill activation rate, whereas the regular and 32-3 versions of the song still both have the non-cleansable 50% base skill activation rate debuff. You may ask, Shaz, my Elegant cards are garbage though. Couldn't I just use my Max Nerve Break Second Fest Dia, Second Fest Ruby, and Party Rena and play the regular Advanced Live? And the answer would be, of course. If you have really strong cards in a particular attribute, use them. If I had a bunch of natural attribute cards but no good Elegant attribute cards, I would stick to my strength and play the regular live. The only difference that would arise in team building is that you would most likely have to run either a Fluffy White Snow Nico or a Noble Princess Rico to give you a small amount of backline healing to keep your stamina in the green. Finally, Neo Sky and Neo Map, which isn't too difficult but can lead to substantial missteps in team building if you're not paying attention. If we head over to look at the song's beat map, we see two story chapter options, 26-10 in the pure attribute and 35-6 in the natural attribute. The SP gauge is the same size at 4800, the overall song gimmick, note gimmicks, appeal chance gimmicks are all the same, with the only difference being about 120 more damage per note on 35-6 than 26-10. For Neo Sky, this is one time when I would actually build my team with the appeal chance gimmicks taking priority. The reason for this is the note gimmicks, which only buff crit chance and appeal for 20 notes each on same attribute cards. Those 40 notes worth of buffs are significantly less than if you build towards the appeal chance gimmicks, which ends up totaling 92 notes. For me personally, I'm going to start with a second fest Rina and second fest Setsuno frontline. Then try to find the most consistent scoring option between party Koto, party Shioriko, and party Kanata. That'll conclude this video going over item exchange voltage ranking concepts. Over the next few days, I'll be posting some examples of my team builds and play through the songs so that you can see what a more meta-focused approach to this little mini event looks like. I think I'm set up pretty well for this event, so we should be able to get some good scores. Hope to see you all at the next video. I've been I Am the Shaz. Take it easy, be nice to each other, and I will see you all next time.